ERT News, episode 8. We are back with Mr. Tim Gacsy and Tim Anderson. How are you guys feeling today? Feeling good?
Feeling good.
Feeling good. I have no surf updates on the World Surf League for anybody today. I know. I'm sorry. It will be months before it starts up again.
Oh, dear. Already disappointing the people with the surf updates, but we do have some exciting things that we're talking through today. We're picking up where we left off last week with Tim really excited to kind of talk through his role in a little more detail. And then just a reminder, we have the Fox Film Strategy webinar, so we'll talk through that. That's going to be on Monday, 9:15. Coming soon. Anton, we've got some things in the pipeline. You want to talk through those?
Some things in the pipeline. Yeah, I'm happy to. We've got. You want me to tell you now? You want me to go through it now, or you want to wait?
Let's wait. Let's
All right, let's
keep
wait.
the anticipation.
All right.
Yeah, and of course, got a couple new specialists that will be announcing. Tim, I know that you're behind the scenes working on that. So, without further ado,
Without further ado, yeah. So if you didn't see last week's episode, please go back and watch it. We had a chance to introduce Tim Gacsy. If you haven't had a chance to meet him, he joined the team officially in April, May timeframe.
May
And
15th.
May 15th, like a true accountant. He's got the details nailed. Love it. And yeah, he's been a huge asset to our team and really quickly got in here and is making a big difference, especially within the VFO fast track process. So he is serving as the advanced tax planner within the VFO fast track. So if you are using the VFO fast track, I'm assuming you've probably already had a chance to see some of his work if your clients have had tax planning priorities. And if not, that is how you would get access to his tax planning expertise. But what we thought would be really helpful to do today, again, whether you want to be using the VFO fast track or not, is for Tim to walk through at a high level the 5 steps of the tax proactive planning process, give you a little behind the scenes of what he does when a client identifies either an income tax or capital gain tax as one of their main priorities, how he works with the proactive facilitator. And then what we'll do next week is we'll actually show you essentially a live tax plan. And as he's going through these 5 steps, Tim, if you don't mind just sharing with them where that actual tax plan will come into the picture. And then again, next week, we can kind of show you what that is, what the savings was, what the fee was for that, and how it's presented to a client.
Gotcha.
Mr. Gacsy, take it away for them, please. Walk through a little bit on the tax proactive planning process and just share how it fits into overall the work you're doing.
Gotcha. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So, like Anton said, I'm going to walk through the 5-step proactive tax planning process and focus on the work that leads into our step 3, which is the ROI meeting. This is where we set the stage for the client presentation, where we'll have our team, the client, and the advisor all on one call. But first, step 1 is the diagnostic step, and that's where the proactive facilitator collects prior tax returns, any entity documents if they're structured in an entity, any payroll wage details we need to know, payment if it's an S corp, what the pay structure is, and any other supportive financials. And the goal here is to establish the client's tax priorities and frame the direction of the plan. And step 2, that's what we call the deeper dive phase, and this is internal only. And this is where myself and the team, we do a preliminary tax savings calculations. We model different strategies that we think are relevant, and we align these to the client's risk ratings, right? We do a risk profile. We want to understand where they are in the risk profile, and we align our strategies accordingly. And this is where we look to see what works for their structure, their income, and their risk tolerance. Then moving to step 3, this is the ROI meeting. And in step 3, like I said earlier, we meet with the client and the advisor, and we discuss the ROI ranges, and we present the high-level tax plan. And this is where we also show the planning fee. And with the planning fee, these are some details of how we build that planning fee. And so just so you know, the fees are fixed in advance, so the client knows the cost up front. The base is tied to estimated savings. strategy, complexity, urgency, and the client's risk profile. From there, if we go forward, that's the step 4, that's the educate phase. And this follows the ROI meeting, step 3. But the education step, it's where the specialists actually step in to explain strategy details, the benefits, and the cost, so the client feels confident before moving forward to the implementation phase. And then finally, um, step 5 is implementation. This is where the tax specialists handle execution, draft any documents needed, file elections, and make sure everything is compliant and effective. So to close out, step 2 is where we do the heavy lifting internally. Step 3 is where we had the meeting with the client and advisor and discuss ROI and ranges, and the fees are presented. And step 4 and 5 bring in the specialist to educate and implement. So then we actually see the tax savings on their tax return.
Love it. Perfect. Perfect. So a couple of things that we're going to touch on next week as we actually go through that step 3, the ROI meeting. We'll show you exactly, again, how we present it, what we explain and what we don't at that step. We don't want to go into too much detail yet, but we want to obviously give them enough they can make a decision. We'll share with you how we quote the fees as well as how we actually charge the fees, meaning is it 100%? Is it broken up? Do we offer guarantees? So we'll go through all of those things with you in detail next week. Really important for you to know whether you're doing VFO Fast Track or this is for you to model with your own relationships, your own clients. And then the other thing that I wanted to touch on was this image right here on this tax proactive planning. This should look really familiar to you because if you go upstream a little bit, right, with the clients, think about the proactive planning presentation, right, or the partners in planning presentation, the PIP, where we have the traditional MAP process with the 5 steps. And so it's very easy for the client to see, okay, every single priority and every single path is laid out for me step by step by step, whether it's the 5 steps of the initial MAP process, the 5 tax planning steps that you see in front of us here, and then each process has somebody holding the client's hand and leading them through that. So I love the work you're doing here, Tim. The question I had, I'm sure people are wondering, with step 2, the deeper dive that you said where you work between yourself and the team on the preliminary tax savings calculations, can you speak a little bit to the tools that you are using in step 2?
Sure, yeah, thanks. So, and the first tool I use is my brain, right? My 25 years of experience. And it's not to be funny. I could look at the tax returns, the 1040, if there's any corporate returns, and quickly see what's missing. That kind of gives me an overview, right? Like I could see strategies I'm already predicting that are going to work best for this client. And then what we do is we have multiple we call them the sheets models, which is models of all of our different strategies. I put in the client's details into that. It calculates, rough tax savings, and then also you also integrate tax plan IQ. So you kind of get the benefit of 3 powerful tools to get the most optimal outcome for the client. And again, those tools is you know my experience of 25 years, our models that we have with all the different strategies, and then the tax plan IQ software. So we take all those, we coordinate them, and then that's where we develop the ultimate tax plan.
Love it. Very
The
helpful.
ultimate tax plan.
The ultimate. Nice work. Nice work. Good stuff. Well, I'm excited for next week's conversation on actually sharing what that presentation looks like now that you have a little bit of context of what the 5 steps are of that tax proactive planning. Anything else, Tim, before we wrap up the tax planning discussion and just talk on 1 or 2 more things coming down the pipe?
That's all I have for now. Look
All
forward to
right.
working with everybody.
All right. Brilliant.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tim. And again, VFO Specialist educational webinar coming up 9:15. That's this Monday. It's 1 to 2 Eastern Time, and it will be hosted by Mr. Kyle Fox. He's representing our VFO specialist, Ben Golden. So if you want to register for this or invite any CPAs or accountants to attend with you, just go ahead and use the link that will drop in the comments for you to register. And you can get CPE credits if you're eligible through NASBA as well. So looking forward to that. I think this is a really fun and interesting strategy. Tim, I know that you and Tracy have been working behind the scenes on getting them onboarded as well. So anything you wanted to add of why people should attend this upcoming Monday?
Sure, yeah. So the reason why I think to attend, it's a very powerful strategy. We got a great specialist who has a lot of experience. Kyle, he's a CPA and financial strategist with deep expertise in alternative events, investments, private placements, and tax advantage planning. He's the founder of the Fox Financial Network, and this is his main focus right now. Is he oversees significant movie transaction volume through partnerships with, now working with Golden Tax Relief and his financing company, New Star Financing. But in a nutshell, the strategy, it's called the cinematic return strategy. This is where accredited investors act as equity producers in films. They put up 20% in cash and generate a 5-to-1 Section 181 deduction. That's straight from the tax code. You get 100% of the deduction for any move production in the year that the costs are incurred. It also keeps recoupment rights in the film, perpetual royalties, and potential capital gain from copyright/IP sales. So I would, this is very unique, and I would definitely recommend to be part and attend this strategy meeting next week.
Love it. And I think this is neat to tie this in back. Jenna, I'm seeing you smile as Tim's going through this, because obviously Tim's brain starts going on the tax planning strategies and he gets excited. But we just talked about the 5 steps of the proactive tax planning process, and where Tim is helping to build a tax plan in step 2 and ultimately will be presented in step 3. This is just one of many strategies now, right, that Tim is pulling into these client's potential tax plan, again, based on the client's risk profile, as well as, of course, the income and the tax liability, et cetera. So within that tax planning, it should never just be 1 or 2 strategies that we're looking at trying to stuff for each client. We should always be looking at, I think the last one I just reviewed, Tim, last week, there was 4 different strategies that were layering for this client to ultimately create, it's like 150,000 of savings in year 1. So it's Correct. The power of now having more and more tax planning strategies available to us. And from what I hear, Tim, we've got a couple more that we'll be announcing probably in the next week or 2 as well. So we're not trying to say one is better than the other. We're always just trying to look at a client circumstance and say, how do we layer these on top of each other to match the highest and best ROI for a client while staying within their risk profile?
Exactly. Yeah. And, Anton, just to add to what you said, we go past just year 1 tax savings, right? Right now I'm projecting out 10 years, which just extrapolates that savings. So it's nothing but great benefits.
Good point. Good point. Brilliant. All right, Jenna, why don't you lead to the next slide? I'll talk about the one last thing that we have coming soon, which last week we shared that accountant, I think it was about just over 2-minute video, and we had an accountant 1-pager leave behind that was requested by a number of advisors. And it got such good feedback that we've been working on a client, essentially 2 to 3-minute kind of teaser video that you could use with clients, and a client leave behind as well. And I'm told that's very close to being done. I've reviewed a draft of it a couple times. So next week, we should be able to have that live for you, as well as, of course, the actual presentation for tax step 3.
Listen, Tim's not sleeping. The marketing team's not sleeping. We're just delivering the news to you guys. I love it. We've got all this exciting stuff happening. Tim, looking forward to seeing you back with us on episode 9, and hope everyone tunes in for that one. Thanks so much for joining us today. Anton, always good to see you. Tim, we'll see you again next week. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks everyone. Everybody. Cheers.